Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printing, so far we have seen so many patterns. In this video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So, in this pattern, if you could observe carefully, we have A in the first row, B in the second row, C in the third row, like that. As and when the rows are increasing, the alphabets are increasing, right? So, apart from that, in the first row, we have 5 alphabets. In the second row, we have 4 alphabets. In the third row, we have 3 alphabets. Like that, as and when the number of rows are increasing, the alphabets are keeps decreasing, right? So I hope you can able to understand this pattern so that we can able to print this pattern. So let us go ahead and see how we can actually print this particular pattern. As we have 5 rows here, I will take a variable rows and I will assign the value 5 here. So I will also take these particular spaces, because if you could observe this pattern carefully, apart from these alphabets, we are also having spaces here, right? So first we need to print this space, and after we need to print these alphabets in order to get the exact pattern. So for that reason, in order to keep track of these spaces, I will take a variable spaces and I will assign the number of spaces that we are having in first row. If you could observe this pattern carefully, in the first row, we don't have any spaces. So for that reason, I will assign the spaces as 0. So later we will increase the spaces, right? So apart from these spaces, we have these alphabets, right? So in order to keep track of these alphabets, I will take a variable alpha and I will assign the alpha a here, so that because in this pattern we are starting with the alphabet a, right? So for that reason only I will take the alphabet a. So the thing we need to realize is that we cannot directly keep track of these alphabets. So for that reason, we need to convert these alphabets to integer values, so that we can keep track of these integer values and convert the all integer values to alphabets, so that we can able to get all the alphabets that we are having here. So in order to convert these alphabets to its equivalent integer numbers, we have a specific encode formatting, which is ASCII codes. So if you don't know about ASCII codes, if you don't know about how to convert these ASCII codes, ASCII alphabets into its ASCII equivalent integers, watch my first video about alphabets pattern printing 1, where I have explained clearly how they works and how to do. So in this video, we will see only the information that to print this particular pattern. So in order to convert this particular alphabets to its equivalent ASCII integer value, I will take a method which is ORD. By using this ORD method, we can actually convert this particular alphabets to its equivalent integer number. So for that reason, I am passing this alphabet to its ORD, so that we can keep track of this integer value, which is of alphabet A. So later, in order to generate this many number of rows here, I will take a for loop. So for I in range, so we need to generate the range of values. As you can observe, in first row we have 5 alphabets. In the second row we have 4 alphabets. Like that, we have all this pattern, right? So for that reason, I will start with this particular values, which is 5, and go till the value of 1. So for that reason, I will take rows. Rows is nothing but we have 5, right? So for that reason only, I am taking rows and I need to go till the value of 1. So for that reason, I am mentioning 0. By the functionality of this range, we will be stopped at the value of 1 itself. So we are mentioning -1, because this is a decreasing order, right? So we have 5, then we have 4, then we have 3. This is in the decreasing order by 1. So because of that reason, I have mentioned -1. So after that, what I will be doing is that in order to know what value we have in I will just print the value I here. So now if I execute this, we can able to see the values which are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is what exactly that we have expected, right? So after this, what you can and we can do is that you can compare these I values with this particular pattern here. So primarily this I value here is only belonging to generate those many number of rows. You can consider this as first row, this as second row, this as third row, this as fourth row, and this as fifth. So on each row, we have a specific number of alphabets, right? So in the first row, we have 5 alphabets which are A, and we have this I value which is 5. So by using these I values, we can actually generate how many number of values we have in each row. So for that reason, as these are repeated, right? So in every single row, we have a specific number of alphabets here. So for that reason, I will take one more for loop inside of this for loop. So because of that reason, for j in range, so now we need to generate the range of values. As we have discussed, by using this I, we can able to generate all these values here, right? So for that reason, I will start with 1 and go till the value of I plus 1. So by the functionality of this range, we will be stopped at the value of I itself. So in this for loop, what I will be doing is that I will print the value of alpha. That is what we are using to keep track of these alphabets, right? So I'm mentioning this alpha. So if we directly print this particular alpha, we will get the integer values. I will show that. So like this, we can able to get all the integer values, which is 65, which is the value of this particular alphabet A. So in order to convert this particular integer value to its equivalent alphabet, we will use one more specific method in Python, which is CHR. By using this CHR method, we can actually convert this integer value to its equivalent alphabet. So that is why I am passing this value of alpha into char so that we can able to get the alphabet. So after that, what I will be doing is that by if I simply execute this, we can only get everything in a new lines like this. So in order to get this kind of shape, what we need to do is that we need to format this a little bit so that we can able to get this shape. So for that reason, what I will be doing is that I am mentioning this end as this particular single space, because by default this end parameter in print having a new line character. For that reason, we are getting like this. So if we mention a single space, we can able to get everything in a single line. So after that, what I will be doing is that as and when we completed this particular first row, we need to increase this particular values, right? This particular alpha to increase to convert this A into B. So for that reason, what I will be doing is that after completion of this for loop is responsible to print the values in each row. So now after completion of this row, we need to increase the value, right? So for that reason, I will increase the value, which is nothing but alpha. That is what we are using to keep track of these alphabets, right? So for that reason, I am increasing the value of alpha. So now if I execute this, we can able to see 4 5 A's and 4 B's and 3 C's, 2 D's, 1 E, like that we have got as we have got in this particular shape. So now we need to arrange these alphabets to get this particular pattern. So as we know, this inner for loop is responsible to print the number of characters in that particular row. So after completion of this row, we need to print a new line character so that we will be getting A's in one row, B's in one row, C's in one, and so on. So for that reason, I am mentioning a print after completion of this inner for loop. So now if I execute this, we can able to get this kind of a shape with the values that what we have. So after that, in order to get this kind of a exact shape, what we need to do is that we need to first print the spaces here. So you can observe we have spaces before this particular alphabets, right? So for that reason, we first need to print the spaces, then we need to print the alphabets. So for that reason, here the sixth row, the line here, we are printing this particular alphabets. So before that, we need to print. So for that reason, as and when we enter into this outer for loop, I will print the spaces. So I am mentioning space, and I will multiply the space with spaces variable. The spaces variable we are using to keep track of the spaces, right? So for that reason, I am multiplying the spaces with space variable. So to get the exact spaces. So after that, I will mention this end to end with nothing. So by default, end is having new line character. We don't want any new line character at this position. So for that reason, I am replacing with particular empty codes. So now if I execute this, we still get same pattern, because in this pattern, if you observe carefully, the spaces are keeps increasing, right? So for that reason, we also need to increase this particular spaces variable. So where after completion of this particular inner for loop, so now if I increase the value of spaces by 1, we can able to get the pattern. So now if I execute this, we can able to see the exact pattern That is what we have in here. So now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this exact pattern. So if you found any difficulty while understanding this logic, I sincerely suggest you to watch the video once again carefully so that you can able to understand this logic clearly. So now what we will be doing is that we will dynamically take input of these rows and print the pattern accordingly. So for that reason I am mentioning int because I want integer values, right? For that reason I am mentioning int. After that I need to take input. So for that reason I am using this method. In this I am asking user to enter rows here. So now if I execute this, it was asking me to enter rows. Let's say if I give the value 6 here, we can able to get this pattern. That is what we can expect with the input 6, starting with A going till the alphabet F, which is the sixth alphabet, right? F. So after that, let's say if I give 9 here, so still we can able to get the exact pattern here. So now I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this kind of a pattern by any number given by the user. So I hope you have understood this logic and I hope you have found this video interesting. If that is true, hit the like button. In the next video, we will see how we can actually print this particular pattern. So to stay updated with my latest videos, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.